call the meeting to order. This is Brainerd Safety and Public Works Committee, Brainerd City Council Chambers, and 3 items on our agenda, the first of which is to approve change order number 1, improvement 2313, for Trunk Highway 371B Willow Street Roundabout Project. Engineer Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have a change order request. This one's actually number 1 as compared to number 2 that was at the last meeting. So there's a few different adjustments on here, some grading changes, some storm sewer adjustments that were required because of the grading revisions, and then some changes to water service work. The total change order is a little over $40,000. Ultimately, the city's portion is actually at net savings. MnDOT's portion is actually about $41,000. So our cost share in the project is actually a reduction of a little over $1,000. Staff is recommending approval of the change order as presented.
All right, thank you very much. Any comments or questions of the committee?
Well,
Yes, go ahead.
okay, thank you. When we look at what's in place, and maybe I'm not fully understanding, but what happened between the time we, did something crop up that we didn't know we had, or I can't fully recall exactly how I read the agenda request and the explanation. It's not overly broad by any stretch, but what happens in these instances? Maybe give me a nutshell of what we changed that needed changing that we didn't know about to begin with.
So a lot of it was grading in the roundabout and the highway portion. They had to make some adjustments, not only because some other materials were in the area that had to get moved. So MnDOT is paying for a bunch of material that's getting moved. Part of that was some contaminated soil issue. There was some issue with the existing subcut section. So it was more of a construction practicability issue. So being able to construct the project appropriately, some grading revisions were necessary, and almost exclusively was in the highway portion. So having to dig some of that material out, move it to the side, and essentially putting it back. So that's where a lot of the grading revisions are coming out of. Some of the storm sewer revisions are just an adjustment based on some of that. The water main, we discovered the water service line for one of the homes actually came off of 7th when we were anticipating it came off of Willow. So that was a reduction in a water service line that we don't have to replace with this job. And then the Speedway water service line, we originally specified a 1-inch service line, but when we got into it, it was a 1.5. So we're just planning to upsize that to a 2. Like I said, net is actually a savings because of the reduced water service line that we do not have to replace with this project.
Okay, and then, of course, I would assume then that our mapping didn't show what we found that thought existed but didn't.
That is correct. We'll have it adjusted accordingly.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Jesse. I'll move to accept the change or approve the change order.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign, and motion carried. All right, brings us to our second item, discussion on snow removal for 25-26 season. Engineer Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Public Works Director Habagorst asked me to report as we're really approaching the snow season in a hurry. Tough to imagine on today, but it is coming, and it's coming fast, and we wanted to get some direction from the council on how to proceed for this upcoming season. Public Works Director Habagorst presented to the Park Board and asked for a recommendation from them, and their recommendation is that the City Council send an RFP rather than utilizing internal parks maintenance staff to perform snow removal downtown. As a quick reminder, Advantage Home Pros was the selected contractor last year. Shortly after the snow season, we did receive notice that they are no longer performing snow removal services for anybody. So they are getting out of the business. It is a very challenging RFP to get responses from. So a few options we do have before you. One, we could send out an RFP similar to what we've done in the past, where the contractor's only called out for 4+ inches of snowfall, and then the snow is removed that same day. The challenge is it's very inconsistent and unpredictable. That's why it's a real challenge for us to find contractors that are wanting to perform that service. Option, I say 2, would be utilizing our internal parks maintenance crew. And a couple options even with that is you could have them remove and windrow the snow for our street crews to then fully remove. We can do that with all snowfall events and not just 4 inches or more, or we could still just restrict it to 4 inches or more, similar to when we had the contractor out. Obviously, it's a time and a cost standpoint, but either way, whichever direction that would be, the downtown would be assessed for staff hours and equipment time. We presented this type of alternative a couple years back. It was a significant reduction in the cost for the downtown. It would just require, obviously, staff time. So staff is recommending a direction from the council on how to proceed for this upcoming snow season.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I watched, I think, the park board discussion on this, and I was curious about the assessment district. Are we able to cover this? Is there any legal issues? Has that been run up the flagpole with our city attorney regarding the way it's been done is contracted out, and we got an exact cost, and now if we have park staff do it and then street department follow up, that's then another day we'll have the windrows, first of all, or second of all. But as far as the legal question, has that been addressed that you know of, Jesse?
If we can legally assess them for staff time?
Well, yeah, based on what
is
we're
that the
doing
question?
now, that's appropriate?
Yes, we would be able to, as long as we're doing that similarly now with the special services district for like some of the landscaping. We do track staff time and expenses that
Okay.
go downtown, and that is included with the assessment district.
And then as far as the windrows being cleaned up the next day, I remember when city used to do this. And I don't know if it's been I'd say I think it's been going better with the private contractor doing it regarding the amount of time it takes, and that's always been a real problem, especially when you get a significant amount of snow. So I'm hesitant to have staff do that, but unless there's, it's kind of a tough call, because once we go down that road, there's really no way of going back, and I'd be leaning towards going out for RFP, I believe it is, or to see what we get back before we take that action on having staff do it.
Commissioner Councilman?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. The park board recommended that the city council send out the RFP for someone else to do all of the snow removal, 4 inches or less, and to do all of the snow removal. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And I didn't watch the meeting, I apologize, but can somebody just give me a basic idea of what the dialogue was that led the park board to that decision of not wanting to self-perform this?
The main concern is that they don't want to staff to focus other than the ice skating rinks, because it would take away a little bit of that time for the ice skating rinks. With this, they would come in they would punch the clock in at 3 a.m. on the jobs downtown at 4, finish by 8 or 9, and then from there go to the ice skating rinks.
With this system, you're saying?
Right, correct. But their concern was, do we want to open up that can of worms where we're not really sure 100%?
Understood. So, just make sure I understand that correctly. So, the park board staff was going to clock in at like 3 in the morning, do the downtown, and then shift over to the rinks whenever they got done with downtown. Is that right?
Yes.
And historically, have they been done by 8 or 9 o'clock, like through?
The contractors, yes.
Okay.
They are mandated to be done
But
by.
the cities, but the park board didn't feel that their own staff could get it done by the time they would want to shift over to the rinks. They just felt like that was too much.
Correct. And just didn't want to open up that can of worms because we've never done this before. And we also have looked at the union issue. That was a initial concern also, but we've looked at that. And we have talked to the shop steward and the union representatives. And that would be, we would be within our parameters to authorize staff to do that.
Okay. So just a follow-up question. After the park staff is done hypothetically doing the rinks on a snow day, what do they do?
They do the trails, they do other, cleanup. They save all their lawnmowers they're sharpening the blades, do all our maintenance on our lawnmowers to get all that done. But there's a list of things, and I can provide that, but
Right.
yes, there's.
That's all.
Question that I have is if we were to do as we have done with an RFP, and maybe I should know this, but say we get a 2 or a 3-inch snowfall, who does the downtown in that case? Because it wouldn't be the contractor then, because it's 4-inch minimum.
Correct. It would be Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, but the store owners would then do that, and then they would do the sidewalks. But we are recommending that we just do all of that at all levels.
But currently, like, say, in the past.
Right.
That's been-
The storefront owners would sweep their, and then the street department would come
Okay.
by and then do that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I just?
Yes, please.
So if there was a case of, maybe Jesse knows this, if we had 2 inches one day, another inch the next, and 2 inches on the third, fourth day, and another inch, would they come in, the contractor at that point, and do cleanup, do you know? Over the accumulation?
Jesse, what was the historical?
No, we usually reserve it for a 4-inch event. That's usually, we kind of couple that together as what triggers a snow emergency event, where we want people to get cleared off the streets for cleaning. When you kind of get those chain events, you aren't clearing all that snow all at once. So we don't normally issue a snow emergency for that. But it is really tough. You have to really look at what that snow event is before making some of those decisions, because they're all a little bit different.
Mike or Jesse, you may have said, but was there a kind of a dollar amount, a break-even estimate is between these two options versus what we've contracted through an RFP in the past and what we estimate the savings would be if we did move to?
I can speak to what we presented a couple years ago. I can't remember the exact cost, but it was a pretty considerable savings. There was a lot of concern about the increasing cost for the downtown district because we had gone through a pretty hefty couple years worth of snow removal. So we did this analysis, and I can send the council a copy of that PowerPoint from a couple of years ago.
It was substantial. as I
It was
recall.
substantial. I want to say it was like 20% of the overall cost,
I
and
think
that
it was
was
more
with
like half is what I was thinking, was remembering, but I could be
And
wrong.
then that was with staff removing snow at every snow event and not just 4 inches or more.
And did that include the increased estimate of staff time?
Yes, that was factoring
Built
in
into
an estimate of staff time and equipment.
Mr. Chair,
Sir?
I'm going to move that we go out for RFPs, and then once we find out if anybody or the price of that RFP is amenable to the council, did it make essentially see what we get back before we ask our Parks Department staff to move forward with this. That's my motion.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I don't know the time frame that you normally go out for, but I know that's kind of a, perhaps is it normally like 30 days, 40? What do you usually have on something like this?
We would usually issue it for at least a couple weeks, and around the beginning of September is when it would normally go out. So we're getting a little bit late in the season now.
Yeah. Do you solicit anybody, or can you call anybody just to make sure they get it?
We do directly solicit, but we also publish it in the paper as well.
All right.
I know this, we deal with this seemingly year after year. It's a challenging agreement or RFP to fulfill. So, and how many have we gotten in the past? Responses? Been just the one usually?
It's usually one. Last year we had two. We had Advantage and Tom's Backhoe. The years before that, we did have another bidder that withdrew their bid. But yeah, it's very typically one, if maybe two.
All right, well, we'll see what we get and then make a decision from there. So, all right, let's, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. And of course, motion carries. Brings us to our last item, direction on active code enforcement. Development Director Kramvik.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So staff are bringing 3 properties before the committee for review. The first one is 907 First Street, which has a significant amount of junk and debris after being abated for the same issue in May. Staff recommend abatement of the property. 1419 Mary Street has an unlicensed and most likely inoperable vehicle as things are kind of placed and leaned against the vehicle. Staff will recommend sending a 10-day warning letter, and after that, towing the vehicle. 324 Street North. Applied for an after-the-fact fence permit. The applicant communication has now gone silent, and the property still does not have a valid fence permit. Staff will recommend sending a $300 citation every 10 days until the fence is corrected. With that, I can answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions for James?
I just have one on that 9th Street, I think you said, $300 every, is that something, I don't remember seeing that one applied before. Is that something?
10 days.
The
300 every 10 days.
324 Street North. So historically for property maintenance issues, ones that maybe perhaps don't affect neighboring properties, typical recommendation would be $300 per every month. Since this fence was put up without a permit, it's now gone silent, certainly affects the neighboring property owner more than just a sight or view from the street. Staff is recommending a slightly higher penalty potential for this property.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? If not, be looking for a motion to,
Okay, I'm going to take a run at this one, please. I would like to make a motion to approve the staff recommendations as followed regarding these properties, but I would also like to ask staff to draft a code change that would allow staff to administratively abate for repeat offenders for junk and debris. We currently can do that for grass, feces, and trash. I would like to see what a code change might look like for junk and debris as well, and that is my motion.
I'll second that. Other question?
yeah, motion and a second. Any discussion?
So would you like to do that separately then, Kevin, and then we come back?
I certainly can.
I would second that motion then, and
Two separate motions?
Sure. So I'll amend my first motion to include just a motion to approve the staff recommendations as presented.
okay, I'll second that.
All right, set motion and a second. Any further, or amended motion, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take that to a vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
And then I will make an additional motion to request that staff craft a code change to bring back to us that will, or to bring back to city council to have a look at that will allow staff to administratively abate for repeat offenders for junk and debris. And I so move.
Second.
All right, thank you. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, yes, go ahead.
Is that in line with what we're able to do then administratively, or with the abatement?
Yeah, so it would be a fairly easy code change, and I was going to ask for some clarification here, as it is essentially just adding one line. Would you like to see this go straight to council as a first reading, or discussion at Safety and Public Works at the next meeting?
I'd like to see it go as fast as possible. I mean, these neighbors are living with these properties all summer with no motion whatsoever, so that'd be my leaning.
Either way, if it comes to Safety and Public Works, it'd be the first reading at council, would it not?
Typically at Safety and Public Works, we're reviewing code or draft ordinances, and then there'd be a direction to first reading at the next meeting. So perhaps since this would be a fairly easy code change, it could be brought straight to City Council for discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic.
I agree. Expedite it, get it right there.
Yep.
All right, did we vote on that?
I don't think we did.
Thank you. We'll take the vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, and motion carries. And that brings us to the end of our agenda.